Good evening everybody and welcome back to the garden. It's been an absolutely beautiful week since Wednesday. We've had glorious sunshine here in Herefordshire, UK. What's the weather been like where you are? I've managed to get out in the garden today to mow the lawns. I booked Thursday off this week, so it's been a nice break for me away from work, and I've just managed to get on with some essential garden jobs while the weather's really nice. Got my herbal tea for tonight. Lovely peppermint tea. The birds are singing and the sun's still shining. It's a gorgeous evening as well. I thought I'd just take you on a quick tour around the garden, show you some of the exciting trees that are about to burst into bloom. Yeah, there's just so much going on at the minute. We've had the guys over in the vineyard today. When I say vineyard, it's no longer a vineyard. It's looking more like paddocks and field. We've had the perimeter fencing put over there, which is fabulous. They only started on Tuesday and they've nearly finished. They'll be done by tomorrow lunchtime. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll give you a sneak peek at the new garden project, which I mentioned in one of my other previous videos down in the bottom of our garden. And that is already starting to take shape. It's still in its very early stages and it is going to take years to complete, but even just getting these initial bits done, which I'll show you, are making it feel like it's real, and it's definitely going to happen. I hope you enjoy this video. As always, give the video a thumbs up to support the channel on YouTube, and if you're new here, as always, I'm Aaron, the Herefordshire gardener. I'd love to see you in the next video. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. Just going to start by putting this drink down on this table. I've got the chairs on the table and some over at the back. And just because I was mowing around the table with the ride-on mower, still got to cut in with the push-on mower tomorrow in this section. But as you can see, the lawn's looking beautiful for its first cut. And for those of you that are interested, I always cut on a higher setting for the first cut of the year, just so it doesn't stress the grass out too much. But you can see we've got the daffodils there that are still out. They've been out now probably, well, best part of a month or more. We've got different varieties. This lot came out earlier in the season. You can see it's already going over. Those are a bit later flowering. And then we've got these, but just look at them. Look how gorgeous they are. I'll give you a closer view. I love how they form these little drifts. Look at those, aren't they pretty? Oh, melt like a daffodil to cheer your day up. These ones are fragrant as well. They smell beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. We've got daffs at the bottom of the garden as well, which I'm going to show you. That's the rose room if you're interested. That's why I do a lot of my filming inside that beech hedging. It's quite big actually. And you look, it goes all the way to the end. You can see the alpacas down there. See if we can get this to focus a bit better. There we go. And that's already starting to bud. I'll show you. It's coming out quite early this year. The witch hazel, which is there, I think I've uploaded videos of that before. That's now gone over and it's going to start leafing out soon. That's my Magnolia Susan. Interesting story with that. We'll talk about that in just a second. But look at these daffodils here. I've got to clean this section up. As I said, I'm cutting in with the ride-on mower. Look at this for a daffodil. I don't know the name of it before anybody asks. Isn't that gorgeous? Covered in pollen beetles. Very fragrant. Oh, just so pretty. Frilly daffodils. Gorgeous. Got lovely clumps of them here. There's a few actually. Look, I'll show you another one. Quite an interesting variety. Let's get that focused again. These beds are going to be getting tidied up very soon. Look at this one. You think that first one was beautiful? Look at that. It's like a Cadbury's cream egg. Isn't that so pretty? I love those reflex petals elevating that cup. It's a bit like some of my David Austin roses, is that? I wouldn't be too disappointed if I got those colours in a rose. I'm doing a new series this year called The Unwritten Roses. Go and check out my first video that I uploaded. Trying to grow my own roses from seeds. They're all David Austin roses that were collected out of the rose room last year. and they've been stratifying in a spare fridge that we've got, and I've got 2 seedlings that have already sprouted, which is amazing. So it's looking like that experiment might turn out quite well. Just gonna have a look at that other daffodil there, because that's another slightly different one. So yeah, go and check it out. I'll be uploading very regularly over the year. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, as I say, I'm going to be uploading updates, videos of how the seedlings are getting on. We might even get some blooms this year. They'll only be diddy, but it'd just be interesting. You never know what you're going to get. It's all just for personal exploration, experimentation. It's just a bit of fun, really. And because I've got 140 roses, David Austin roses, in my rose room, there's a good chance that they were cross-pollinated with each other. So it'll create some really interesting possibilities. So yeah, if you want to hit the subscribe button, hit it, and then you won't miss any of my future updates, because there's going to be loads going on this year. I feel like I'm really getting into my stride now on this channel. Just sort of balancing work. I feel like I've got the balance right, and you guys have been amazing, so I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you. It's been so lovely reading all your comments, having all the support from you. Yeah, it's been amazing to find out what you guys are doing in your garden, what you've been up to, some of your triumphs, some of your fails. It's actually helped me significantly, so massive thanks to you all. I'll continue to answer your questions, and I'll continue to respond to your comments as best I can. It might take me some time, in some cases, just depending on what I've got on in the garden and with work, but I do my best to get back to each and every one of you, so thanks again. Right, let's move on. So this, guys, is literally my favorite tree in the garden. If somebody said to me, your garden's on fire, there's one tree that you need to dig up and move, this one would be it. So this is the great white cherry, Mount Fuji. It is absolutely incredible. This specimen's got to be over 20 years of age, and it's just beautiful. It's so big, it's about to come out into bloom. So sort of mid-March to late March is when it flowers here in the garden, and oh my word, wait until you see this. I will do an update video in the next week showing you it's like a white cloud. It is honestly like a nebula cloud, and the fragrance on it is divine. It is covered in honeybees and bumblebees. They're like, it's like a metropolis when they're out. It's just incredible. The sound from the bees alone is just heavenly. I could sit under there and just listen to them all day and watch them from below just go about their business. So you must tune in and watch that, because it's incredible. But I'm going to give you a sneak peek. The evening sunlight was on this tree. It's what made me think about doing this video, but as always, I go and get the camera, and yeah, the sun's now going down, but never mind, you'll see it in all its glory soon enough. But look at this, it is loaded. Look at all those buds. Come on, camera, focus. And they start off with like a lovely pink blush, but this is pure white when it's out. Stunning. They're literally days from open. I reckon they're going to start to open this week, but it'll be next weekend when it's in full swing. So I think I might try and save the video until then, but just look, it's absolutely loaded. Look at all that up there. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen it as full, and it's normally pretty full. And we've had some lovely little baby branches that have come out. That's what I call them anyway. Look. Oh, look, that's the first bloom. Oh, it's too high for me to smell, but I bet that smells amazing in there. Oh my God, is there any that are open lower down, I wonder? Just look at the size of it though. And look at all this lichen that grows on it. Isn't that so pretty? Look at it. This is not fungal decay, by the way. It's not harming the tree in any way. This is lichen, and it's a really good sign that the air in your environment is quite clean, because they only grow, as I understand, in clean air. But this tree is just adorned with this beautiful lichen. I think it's stunning. Look at that one. Do you not think that looks a bit like a coral reef? Isn't that pretty? Let's get a close up. Look at that size reference to my hand. Excuse the nails, I've been out gardening, cutting grass today, so yeah, I've cut in here. What else can we show you on this tree? There isn't actually any down at nose level at the moment, but I mean there's plenty of branches that are hanging at nose level, so we'll definitely come back to this one. I think the thing I love about this tree is the shape of it. So it's got a really short, fat main stem, and then those gorgeous arms. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arms that come off of it. It's just incredible. Such an ornamental looking tree. And then just that amazing canopy that just extends out in all directions. It's probably about, I don't know, 10 to 12 meters, maybe even 15 wide. Well, from the center, that is. Yeah, plenty more to show you, so I'm going to move on. You know me, we'll be out here all night otherwise. So this here is one of my Magnolia Soulangeana Albas. This is an amazing magnolia. Let's step back and get it in shot because it's huge. Now this again's got to be pushing on 20 odd years of age. Can't even get it all in the shot. So it ends somewhere up there. Look at the size of that baby. And this is a stunning magnolia. I love the buds on it, and I love when the flowers start to come out, look like little lipsticks, a sort of pink, and then you get these beautiful cups. Look at this. Let me show you a bud first of all. So they start off as these tiny look, little furry buds. You wouldn't think a flower would come out of that. If I didn't know any better, I'd think that was just going to be a leaf, but they slowly get bigger, and you get these that come out. Look, can't really see the pink on that one very well. A little bit more pink on that, but then they start to open. Like this one, you can see the sort of raspberry stripe down the petals, and that you can see the size difference already from this tiny little thing on through. And then you're getting to sort of this sort of stage. The pollen beetles go mad for these. If you look down on in there, can you see them? They fly in on the wind, and they'll just, there's probably about, I don't know, about 15 pollen beetles in these, and the fragrance on this, oh, it's divine. It's like hyacinth, daffodils, watermelon. It's just fresh, absolutely beautiful, and it's really strong. This perfumes the garden there. Once it starts releasing its perfume, which it's not quite there yet because they're not fully open. Look, there's loads to open on that. It's only just getting started. Everywhere where you can see one of those little blind ends is a flower. It's gonna have thousands of flowers on this. It's stunning, absolutely stunning. Bloody camera never wants to focus, does it? Like that one, you can see a little bit more blush. So yeah, and again, I love the shape of this one, multi-stemmed, and we're very lucky when we moved here. This was already planted, and there's been some amazing tree specimens. But this is what they go like eventually. Petals are much wider than a stellata, for example. But it's got a lovely sort of frilly arrangement, but still in a cup form. Isn't that beautiful? You see those dark patches in the base? That's all pollen beetles. There's a load on in there, isn't there? Look at those. Party down there, look. Gorgeous. I'm going to have another smell. That is so nice. Absolutely delicious. I'd love to have more of these. and I might end up having more of them, and I'll show you where they might be going. I've just spotted another Prunus Incisa. I can never remember the name of this one. It's like, oh god, it's definitely Prunus Incisa, and it's Kiko something. Forgive me, I'll try and put the name on screen. Always forget the name. But look at that, isn't that beautiful? I'm guessing when the previous owner put these in, they must have only been little. But again, these are pushing on 15, 20 years old. And now they're big. There's another one just over there by the house. And this is loaded with bees during the day. This one has, so the Prunus Incisa has the classic, sorry, you see those zigzagging stems? So rather than it being straight, it's slightly zigzagged. Got these beautiful flowers that come out, lovely little flowers, very fragrant as well. When they first come out, can you see the throat of them? It's got a nice raspberry pink down on in there, and as they age, they fade to white. Very neat. Loads of hellebores down there, still in flower. They just look lovely at this time of year, just underlighting the borders. There's the other one. The size of that, gorgeous. Look at all the flies, kind of looks quite magical. It's lovely when you see the swifts coming down and the swallows picking them out of the air. Oh god, that looks gorgeous over there, doesn't it, with that sunset? It really does look pretty. Right, moving on. Got to keep on moving. Blackbirds are already nesting. What can I show you next? I need to work on these beds. I've never actually worked on these beds since we've lived here. I've sort of kept them tidy and mulched them a few times, but I've never really put my own stamp on. There's hardy geraniums in here, yellow pale-eyed grass. There's some gardoons there which always come back every year, and we got some seedlings. They're beautiful and the bees love them. It's like a global artichoke. Look, you can see the head from last year, covered in bees. The bees go to sleep on those like a giant purple bed. It's so cute. Got a Philadelphus on mock orange just there, quite a big specimen. That'll be out soon. That's a Persian ironwood. I think it's called Persica perotica, but I call it Persian ironwood, it's easy to remember. That has an amazing autumn fall colour. It's probably just coming into leaf bud now, but yeah, the best time of the year for this is 100% autumn. Yeah, look, you can see we're getting new leaves forming. They almost look bronze, quite pretty. So yeah, maybe I'll show you that later on in the year. We've done a lot of work since we've been here, so again, if you're familiar with the channel, you'll know there were a lot of beech hedging like what's around the rose room. Essentially that was repeated all on this side. There was a pergola arch going down there, more beech hedging. We had a full strip going all the way along the bottom, then a half moon shape. It came all the way in front of the pond, then there were a small opening here, and it carried on all the way to the other side. We had a forest garden down there. When I say forest, lots of trees which we've kept, but it was just underplanted with lots of shrubs. It basically looked like that, but times 30. It had lovely pathways that went through, and don't get me wrong, it was really beautiful, but it was a lot of work to try and keep on top of. I never used to really get round to that section of the garden. I just used to mow the grass, and then it'd get a little bit out of hand. So when we decided to get the alpacas, I knew that was going. I managed to repurpose most of the shrubs from over there into now what I call the long border, which is that back line of the property up to these hedges here. So when we removed the hedge, there was nothing there other than the natural British trees that we've got behind the fence. It's like a nature corridor, and then there's about another 3 meters and then our neighbour's boundary. So I've created a border. I'll show you it actually. I've thrown a load of grass on it today just as mulch, because this is full sun, the beds here can dry out really quick in the sunshine in summer. So adding a mulch and grass is great for that. It adds a bit of nutrition slowly over time, and it just locks that moisture in when it's really sunny outside. So this is my Magnolia Susan. That's such an interesting story. I don't know if she's, no, mind you, she has. She's got a lot of buds on her this year. See if we can get her to focus, look. Yeah, she's going to do well this year actually, and that doesn't surprise me. So, quick backstory. Before we moved here, we bought our first house up north in the village that I grew up in. And the first tree that I got, we had a patioed garden that was probably about 3 meters by 6 meters. It was tiny. It's an old village, historic village that I used to live in, so the gardens were not generous, and it was north facing, no sun at all, maybe a tiny bit in the morning and in the evening, but it was, yeah, pretty, you could have sweltering heat outside and that garden would be like a fridge. So it was quite a blessing in the summer if you wanted to escape the heat. But anyway, I digress. Magnolia Susan, bought her from a local farm shop garden centre type thing that they had attached to the farm shop. Kept her in a pot. She clung on to life. I don't think she was very happy. She didn't bloom very much. She was in a reasonable sized pot, but it wasn't really the most generous one, but it's all I could do at the time. And then when we moved in with my partner's parents for a little bit until we found somewhere to live. You know what buying and selling houses is like. It's never straightforward. But I'm a firm believer that all things happen for a reason, and I'm truly grateful that we found this place because I'm home. This is where I will grow old. So we took this to my partner's parents, and then finally we got here. It stayed in a pot, for about another year. And then I seen it and I thought, God, if I don't sort that out, I might end up losing it. And I didn't want to, because it was literally the first tree that we bought. So I actually popped this Magnolia Susan temporarily over in that tree canopy over there. There's a liquid amber just behind that cherry, and then there's a tulip tree behind that. Well, I put it just in between there. And I knew immediately when I put it in, I thought, oh, why have you done that? I don't really want it there. You've got to remember, at that time, all these hedges were still here, so that wouldn't have been an option. And I didn't know at that time that we were going to be getting alpacas, because we always said we wanted them, but we'd not sort of put that firmly in the diary. So anyway, when the hedges came out, I knew straight away where this Susan was going. And ever since it's gone in here, it's had one season already, and it flowered really well last year. I give it a good feed, dug all the soil out. It's had ericaceous feed, and you know, now it's loaded. I think it's gonna light up this year in a way of saying thank you. A bit like me, we've both found our home, our forever home, which makes me really happy. Anyway, we'll see. I'll do an update on that one. As I said, the witch hazel's gone over. That there is a hibiscus. That was in the forest garden over there. And I thought, you know what, I really like these. It never ever flowered down there. And I think because the willow and the other trees just shaded it out. So it'd be interesting to see if it flowers here. I've scratched it back. There's cambium that's alive all over the bush. So I'm guessing it's going to leaf out this year. And fingers crossed, with the feed that I give it and the amount of sun, I mean, it gets all day sun here, I can't see any reason why this won't flower. It's still sort of dormant at the minute. But yeah, definitely alive actually. It looks like there might be some leaves at the very end there starting to come out. I think you'll agree with me. And that's just nestled in this sea of daffodils. There's also some oxeye daisies in here, clumps of them, which look beautiful. You can actually just see them. And there's more in that bed up there. I've got a yellow magnolia, I think it's called canary bird. My mother-in-law gave me it. She had it in a pot. It was actually doing quite well after I added more compost and feed. It started, because it was looking quite sorry for itself. I said to her, if you don't sort that out, that's going to die. And I think because of the investment I put in. She asked me if I wanted it, knowing that we were putting a load more trees in. I picked it up from a house over a year ago. It's still in the same pot. Oh, do you know, sometimes I think I'm really naughty. But I'm going to get it in this weekend and bite the bullet and just do it. It is actually, I think it's going to flower. It won't flower loads being in that pot. I threw a few banana peels in there from my lunchbox when I got out of the car from work a few months back, and they've rotted down. So hopefully it's had a little something. Let's just get up and show you this one. So this is one of our weeping cherries that I put in. Again, I'll put the name on the screen because I don't want to get it wrong. Oh, Aaron, don't do it, don't guess it. Just put the name on screen. This is a gorgeous weeping cherry, absolutely stunning. And I thought I wanted something down at the bottom in front of the pond to just cascade over. This is just a baby, as I said. It only went in last year. And it's going to get much bigger than this. It's not going to be a giant. Look at that bumblebee there, just doing an evening round. Isn't that pretty? Gorgeous. Oh, there we go, and he's gone. Love the buds on this. If you look, they remind me a bit, you know, like a fuchsia. And they're fuchsia pink as well. Look at those. Beautiful. Gorgeous flowers. You imagine this tree when it's mature. It won't be as big as my Mount Fuji great white cherry that we've just seen, but it'll still be big. And a real good focal point for down the garden. I've gone crazy with the ties because we got a lot of wind in the garden over the winter, and I'll probably release those top ones because it's good to have your trees allow a little bit of movement. It just helps strengthen the stem, so I will undo some of those probably this weekend. That's not a good example of tying up a tree, by the way. Some of the other trees are better, like the ones on the big supports. What else can I show you? Oh, this always makes me quite sad, this little spot. As you know, we had 2 baby alpacas last year, little Clover and Foxglove. Sadly, they didn't make it. There was some sort of genetic abnormality. Nothing significant, it was internal. It just meant that they couldn't survive more than 2 days, more like a metabolic thing. It's quite a sad time last year. It's probably why I didn't post as much on the channel. Just got stuck into the garden jobs. But yeah, I feel like I've come to peace with it now. We're going to definitely breed them again. We've got another 2, Jasmine and Maple, coming in about 5 or 6 weeks, which is really exciting. It'll be really nice to see how the current 3 girls react to them. But I think the plan is to breed all 5 of them next year. Once they're all settled in and we've got their new paddocks. And fingers crossed, it all goes well. We're actually going to genetically test the sire this time and just make sure that we don't run into any speed bumps like that, because that literally knocked me for 6. So that's their resting place. When we're actually going to get them a stone and just put a little message in there and their names and the date that they were born. Clover was born on the 1st of July last year. Foxglove the 1st of August. Can't make it up. Beautiful little baby girls. This one here is my Magnolia black tulip. I bought this when we lost, God, it's turning into a bit of a sob story now. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, I wanted a tree just to commemorate her reign, and I thought this one was amazing because the blooms are so regal. Look at the coloration there. We've got our first bloom coming out. That's literally the colour that they open, and they look like tulips. That's why it's called black tulip. Gorgeous leaves. There's quite a lot of blooms to come out on this one actually. The spider's been very busy. Can you see that web? I tell you what, he ain't going hungry. He's got about 50 flies in that web. It's going to be massive. So that's another Magnolia black tulip. So we'll have black tulip, we'll have Susan, we've got the Soulangeana up there, and then we've got to have the yellow canary bird there, and then there's a couple behind me which I'll show you. So I love magnolias. I think they're just such a good spring interest tree flower. I just love them. I love the fragrance as well. This here is one of the autumn blaze maples that I planted. That's actually put on a lot of size since I put it in. I cannot believe how big it is. It was probably only up to about there when I put it in just over a year ago. It settled in beautifully well. I had to dig these out of their burlap wraps. So the roots came in that sort of, you know, like what ton sacks are made out. It's just burlap material, I think. It's like a plastic wrap. And it's how they keep them, I guess, in the nurseries when they've dug them out of the ground, and then they backfill them with compost. And I'm guessing that sometimes they might pot them into slightly larger burlap wraps and top them up. So when I got these trees, don't get me wrong, the company that we got them from, I can't knock them because they were amazing, and the quality of their products has been fantastic. But really importantly, the tree was buried up to about here in soil in its container, and we had a load of roots that had grown out of this part of the stem. And if you're not familiar with trees, you have the main stem, and then you have what we call the root flare, which is where the fat roots flare out. If you've ever gone for a walk in a forest, you'll know you can see the roots of the trees. We've got one on our Tilia tree at the bottom. I'll show you it. Trees like to grow with their root flare almost at soil level. That's why you see those big roots that you sometimes trip over or have to walk over in a forest. When you bury them deep in a pot, you can get what we call adventitious or secondary roots which grow out of this stem, and they're not really supposed to do that. And the danger with it is, over time, as that stem gets thicker and those roots circle around this area and get thicker themselves, the tree basically suffocates itself, it strangles itself. And that can cause premature death in a tree. So if you only have the tree planted at the root flare, there is no way any roots can come anywhere near the trunk. And I think that's the reason why this tree's done as well as it's done. It's loving where it's been placed. I've been giving it alpaca poo and giving it a mulch with leaves that have been stored in the compost bin as leaf mold, and that is just starting to bud out. Still looks like a skeletal framework at the minute, but yeah, beautiful. We got another one of those just down there. I'm very conscious when I'm turning on this camera because a few of you said you're making me feel dizzy, Aaron. You know, if I turn around too quick, and when I've watched the video back, I've almost reached for the sit bucket. So I'm trying to think about not moving too fast for you. Apologies if I have already made that mistake. This here is the Katsura. We've got several of these in the garden actually. So this is known as the toffee apple tree because in the fall, aside from the foliage going the most amazing yellow, it smells like caramelized sugar or toffee apples, and it's really strong. It's something that the leaves release as they break down. It really does smell beautiful. So we've got one of those here. I got another one up over in that direction there, exactly the same. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 over the other side of the garden behind us. I just love it for all of the things that I've said. And again, this was buried real deep. Had something having a go in there. Don't know what that is. You see, like the green woodpecker comes down and does that with its beak and eats all the bugs. And you end up with these bloody holes everywhere. I don't mind. I wish it had just flicked the soil back. Look, this is a root flare. Can you see that? And this is how I've planted this one. So that tree root will grow out here eventually. We'll be able to remove these stakes. You can see there's a couple of other roots there that are starting to form a root flare. It's just really happy when you plant it like that. Okay. Didn't think I was going to be going through all the trees. That one there is Tilia, cordata, or the lime tree. This one's known as green fire. Again, we have a massive one of these. We only got 2 in the garden, but I chose that one for the center of this part because of that tree there. That is a massive Tilia cordata or lime tree. And honestly, in July, when it gets these little white flowers on, it smells divine. If you've ever smelled, I tell you what it reminds me of. You know that fragrance you can get for your oil burners called line dried linen, or you might get it in fabric softeners or something like that. It smells like that. It's just beautiful. It's so fresh and perfumed, and that carries throughout the whole garden. You can smell that right back up at the house when it's out. It didn't flower last year, I think because we just had a very dry spring and it was exceedingly hot. A lot of the trees seemed to almost retreat a little bit last year. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll get an abundance of flowers in July. And I think they don't flower immediately. I think they take sort of 5 or 6 years to mature and then they'll flower. So if we get any flowers on this one, I'll be really happy. It is a mature... Oh, goodness me. Crows up there, look. If it flowers, I'll be very happy. But if it doesn't, the foliage is beautiful. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got another weeping cherry here. Kiku-shidare. No, it's not coming to me. I'll put the name on the screen. Oh gosh, I need to learn Japanese. I think this is a Japanese cherry, but anyway, that's starting to put on some size now. Need to give these beds a little bit of a clean and another feed and mulch. And this is the long border at the back. I'll show you in a sec. This is actually starting to bud out. Look at that, little chubby blossom buds there. And in fact, you can actually see this is lovely because it's got a much deeper pink colour. Unlike the one that we've just seen over by the pond, this one keeps the pink. And it's like more than a double flower. Each one's got quite a lot of petals, so it's quite different. Beautiful nonetheless. And the idea is I'm going to get this. I might end up removing eventually some of the lower branches, but I just want this nice weeping cherry over here in this part. That'll suit me down to the ground. I'll come on to the long border in a second. We have down here in this part of the garden some silver birch. So we've got 3 there. I think that front one might be dead. It was not looking too good when we purchased the property, and I followed it carefully over the years and it's looking like it's on the demise, but we'll see. I might have to get another one and plant one where that is. But if you look, there's some more mature specimens. There's another 3 over there, and so 3 there, 3 there. So I thought it was only right to extend that silver birch into this area. So I got these 3 handsome buggers here, which hopefully when they get a bit bigger, they'll create a nice area and something nice to look at. That's another early flowering cherry that flowers in February. It's Prunus cerasifera Nigra. Well done, I remembered that one. Gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. It has gone over now. I'll see if I can upload some pictures of the blooms, which I think it only went over last week, but it was at its peak in February. Stunning, stunning tree. And it's really put on some size. So this one went in a couple of years ago. I don't know if you can see on the lawn. Can you see where that sort of green mark is? That's where the old hedge line used to run. And obviously we're never going to get the grass perfectly matched. So you can see the new grass is slightly darker. I don't mind it. Some people might think, oh God, that's like a stain on the landscape. But actually it tells me, look where the old hedge line used to run. You can see it. It's all the way down. The fencing weren't there before. It used to go all the way in that direction. And this I planted in that half semicircle section because I just thought it was lovely. So you can see right down here from the kitchen garden, if I go a bit slower, go slower and see that. So you used to be able to get the view straight down, hence why I put the lime tree here. And I put, even before the lime tree was in, I actually put this one down here and you could see it right from the top. So when I'm filling the chickens water with the tap up there, I'd look down and it's just beautiful to see. But now all of that hedging's gone, I kind of worked my planting around this. So one of the things I love about this cherry tree is the foliage. It's a chocolate colour throughout the entire season. And I think when you've got a lot of green trees, a lot of green foliage, that's an absolute advantage for me. Just look at that. And that gorgeous colour. Beautiful. And it pops, it stands out, it breaks the background up. And because I love this colour so much, I actually planted another maple right here. We've got this one in the courtyard up by the house, which is sadly going to have to be removed when we get the extension done. But this, I think, is maple, I want to say Crimson King. I'm pretty sure it is Crimson King. I'll double check it. If it isn't, I'll put the name, or Crimson Queen. I'll put it on the screen. But this is pretty much the same colour as this, and probably even darker, to be honest. And against everything else that's going on the backdrop, because we've got a lot of green trees there, native trees in the hedges. So yeah, it just breaks things up nicely. And then that there is a Magnolia Soulangeana, another one, which is alive, but I think that one's going to take a few years to sort of get established. We've not really seen any blooms on it this year, and everybody else is Magnolia, you know, it's Magnolia season. We've got another one called Magnolia Galaxy down over there, look, at the base of the pond. Striking pink in colour. Quite a tall specimen already. It's alive, but again, it's not in full bloom at the minute. We might get a few blooms off them this year. We'll see how they manage to get on over the coming years. That's a beautiful bamboo specimen there, black bamboo. Gorgeous. I love this pond. We've let it go au naturel. We will eventually work on that. But to be honest, the birds love it. There's loads of newts in there. There's occasional grass snake. I think this is a cornus, I want to say controversa, a wedding cake tree. It's beautiful. When it comes out, gorgeous layers of, you'll see it later this year. Beautiful white creamy flowers, stunning. That's a spindle tree right there. And then we've got a twisted hazel at the back. There's so many specimens in this garden, it's wonderful, and I've just added to that really to enrich it. You can see here, for example, look, this tree is leaning. That's a eucalyptus. Lovely bark on it. Just something different. If you see my previous videos, that's my rambling rector. Goes all the way up in that tree. You can see it right at the top. That's actually rose that's up there. And that looks like a waterfall when it comes out in June. Got a peri-pear tree there, which will come into bloom. We've got 5 of these in the garden. I think these were original when this garden used to just be a field, because the house was just a barn before it got converted in the 90s. And as I understand, it only had 5 of these trees in, one here, 4 down near the bottom. But they're beautiful when they come out in bloom. We've got somebody that might be using our peri-pears this year, which will be amazing. Arriving at the bottom of the garden now, and this is where a lot of the changes are taking place. So if you remember, this was the burn pile, and then we had a load of those native trees along the bottom. Fence was exactly the same as this, a little bit old, but it's sturdy enough. And the vineyard, which wraps around our property, it goes down that way and then, back up that side of the property where the alpacas are. That's another 5 acres. So quite a big space. We had a couple of containers at the bottom. I'll try and put a picture or video on of those. But if you followed me in my vineyard tour when we got it, I sort of walked you around and showed you what we were getting up to. When I arrived at this section at the bottom, I mentioned to everybody that I would quite like to have a new garden with a cabin, with a log burner, with bees, and with a lot more plants, a lot more roses, a lot more trees. We are putting a load of trees in the vineyard around the paddocks, so that's exciting in itself. But if you follow my channel, you'll know that I designed the David Austin rose room that I have over there, and I think that's given me enough practice now, plus everything else that I've done here, to take on something much bigger. This will be 10 times the scale of that rose room, if not more. That's why it's going to take in the order of sort of 5 to 8 years, I imagine, to get it going properly. But I think as part of that design plan, I'll plant the trees that I know I want in, so that they can mature up as the design comes to life. So I'll get the structural stuff in first, and then I'm going to divide this section into almost like miniature gardens within the whole space. I'm not going to have them actually divided per se. It's going to be a space that's, you know, a sort of experience for the senses, all of them. And a space that you have to walk through, not like the rose room is. My rose room is very formal, straight lines, paths, 4 quadrants, rose cage in the middle. This is going to be more down here like a cottage, secret cottage garden. And I want everybody that comes in to have to meander through. There will be some cut throughs, but on the whole, I'm just going to really play with garden design. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. I just know the rough bare bones of what I want, but that's the fun of it. Scott might be down here in his dressing gown. Bless him, he's just driven back from York. So yeah, this is the sort of entrance into it. Ignore all of these bags. This is where my leaf mold is kept, and it's where I do the burn pile compost bins. And then all those trees, I'm trying not to show you too much, but all those trees are now gone. We've got a new fence going in here with some taller uprights. I've got Paul's Himalayan musk, which sadly I had to cut down almost to fence height, but it will sprout back up. So now you can see the fields in the distance, which is lovely. However, I've got some guide wires going up here, and that Paul's Himalayan musk is going to grow up there, which will give us a lovely wall of flowers again. It'll grow along to here. Then we've got a gate. I am putting an archway in there. And then we've got another section before you come back to Paul's Himalayan musk and our tree line. So that's going to be growing along there as well. The only bit that you will see from here, you basically won't see any of that or any of that. You'll just see a gate and an arch, and you'll think, oh, what's that? So you'll come down here. This is the hope anyway. You can see we've got some stuff still burning. These guys, by the way, have done an amazing job. So in 3 days, they've put the whole perimeter around the field, and they've created this section for me. I'll talk you through it now. All of this is going to go just a soil mound that we've had put here, so it'll look nice. But yeah, this is the gate. I can't take you through because they've not fastened the wire. I think Scott's just hopped over, bless him, he's over there, look. So yeah, this will be the view. So you'll come up, imagine this, and then you'll be like, I mean, it doesn't look inspiring at the minute, but this is the space. So can you see, let me zoom in and show you. So the fence at the bottom, there's a female pheasant there. Don't go near the fire, bloody hell. And so the fence at the bottom, and then this fence comes up the side, but unlike the bottom fence, which is all one height, every so many posts there's a larger upright. Can you see that? And if you'd looked at my previous video, that's because there's going to be guide wires run down those. So you've got the bottom bit of the fencing, which needs, this all needs attaching on tomorrow. And then there'll be wire running, maybe 3 sets of wire up to the top of those tallest posts. And my plan is, let me just zoom back out, this entire section, including this wall and this little section behind me, it's all going to be climbing roses. I'm ideally going to get some repeat blooming ones. My original plan was to take cuttings from my rambling Rector, and a bit like in the current garden, if you remember, and again I'll put a video on, my rambling Rector is like a waterfall of blooms. The only downside to rambling Rector is that it only flowers once, but my goodness me, it's magnificent. The fragrance is incredible, but the bloom power of that machine is wow. So I think I might still use that, because the idea is when we get this, it's all getting turned, it's all getting leveled and reseeded, I will leave a strip, almost like a border if you would. I'll start the project this year of taking cuttings from Rambling Rector, and I don't know, there's probably going to be somewhere like 100 or more that'll go in down here, and they'll grow up. I'll fasten them to the fence initially, and then they'll work their way up into these tree canopies just like they've done in the garden, only this will be on an epic scale, and it'll form the back border of this entire garden. I just think it will be incredible. You don't have to prune the Rambling Rectors, I just leave them. I honestly think that will be like nothing I've ever seen before. Let me know in the comments if you think it's going to look good, and also if there's any other, I mean, we've got Paul's Himalayan Musk here, we've got Wedding Day, again, one's flowering ramblers. I'm sure there are plenty more modern repeat flowering rambling roses. So yeah, that's the plan for the boundary. Can you see, well actually, if I just step back and show you that post, so that end tall post, that marks the end of this this new garden. And basically from here, what they'll be doing tomorrow, not tomorrow, sorry, I've got to wait to get all this ploughed and levelled. They'll be running a single fence line, just like the one at the bottom. You see it? Just like that. That will be run straight down here. So that gives us our rectangular garden space. And then there'll be another one of those gates just down on this line somewhere down there, so you can get out into the field, and then there'll be a large gate at the bottom for access into this space, particularly when I start renovating it. I'm going to put the cabin much further down as almost like a destination, so when you arrive and you peer through that archway with the roses going over it, you will absolutely be able to see the structure of the garden from here, and that'll be part of the design. Because we're much higher up here and it's a gradual slope down, you'll see the cabin and you'll be like, oh, I wonder what's going on down there. I really like to see that. You might even see the beehives there. You'll see various trees dotted around, which will guide you through the garden. But yeah, I actually quite like that this is elevated and you'll get little glimpses of things before you actually arrive to them. So it's just, oh, it's magical. So excited. So excited. We went for a 5-foot gate here instead of a 4-foot. And I just think that'd be lovely, because then 2 people could go through at once, which would be nice. So that's coming together nicely. That's Paul's Himalayan Musk. Doesn't look like much at the minute. But these are old roses, again, 20 years of age. It broke my heart having to cut them down because they were going to flower this year. We'll have sacrificed that. And then I have another Paul's Himalayan Musk under all that massive soil. So I'll clear all of that this year, and then I'll start training these roses out onto this. Pheasants again. Right, we are starting to lose the light, so I'm just conscious this has gone on quite some time. So this is that Tilia cordata, that big lime tree, the one that smells like line dried linen. Look at the size of that. I wouldn't even like to guess how big that tree is. But this is the one that I was thinking of when I was talking to you about root flares. Can you see that? You can actually see the roots under the ground. That's just like what you'd see in a forest, and that's how trees like to grow. They don't like to be planted any deeper than that. You should never mulch around your tree trunks. That's the back of the pond. These are our lovely willows at the back. I'm probably going to coppice those soon, because I'll be using some of this material to make cuttings for the new field, because I love these trees. Look at them. And when you coppice them, they come out the most beautiful, vibrant yellow. The new stems, stunning. Those are the 3 silver birches that I mentioned to you from up there. I can see daisies in the paddock. They're all in there. And this is what this bottom border used to be like. So it was just a mixture of rambling roses. So all this will still flower, it'll be beautiful. Native trees which were behind. It was a little bit thinner in this section, I'll be honest with you. So they have only taken out, I think, 3 native trees, but they needed to come out in order to make this space what I want it to be. And as I said, once those rambling roses grow up over this section again, you won't even notice that it's ever been taken out, to be honest. It'll just look like this again with a little opening, which will be the gate. And that's the idea anyway. This is that Magnolia Galaxy. Not seeing very much on it. This is a beautiful view of the house from down the bottom of the garden. So if you look, you just get a little bit of everything in this shot. Pond, weeping cherry, house, some of the other. That tree there is a Leyland cypress. I uploaded a YouTube short, go and watch it. It was releasing masses and masses of pollen yesterday, like I'd never seen. It was like watching a coral reef spawn. It's incredible. I'd never actually seen that one do that before. I was mowing the garden yesterday, just the top part, and I thought, this is like dust in the air. It literally looked like, you know, when the sunlight comes through your house, if there's any dust, you know, you've banged a pillow or something or duffed up a sofa and you see dust. It looked like that in front of my eyes in the sun. And I thought maybe that these chaps that are doing the fencing maybe were sawing and there was stuff coming over. I mean, it's quite a distance away, but still, it was really dry and warm yesterday. But as I got close to that tree, I realized, no, the tree was releasing it into the air. You could see it coming out in waves. Go and watch the video. It is incredible. I was mesmerized, absolutely mesmerized. It is literally like what you would see when a coral reef, say the Great Barrier Reef, when they spawn. If you've watched the David Attenborough, what a hero he is, documentaries, and you've seen where they've captured it maybe at night time and they show you this spawn coming out, and it just looks marvelous. It looks incredible. So yeah, Leyland cypress, beautiful, or as I like to call it, the sorting hat tree, because the top of it looks like the sorting hat out of Harry Potter. More daffodils down here, which you can see I've done a good job of mowing between them. Got little daffodil islands, beautiful. These ones remind me of do you know those little fried egg sweets you can get, which I absolutely love but probably shouldn't. The sweets I'm on about. I love the daffodils too, but just look at these. Even in this light, and it's definitely dropping dark now, you can see those beautifully on camera, and they're just all over here. There is actually some in paddock 3, and we were supposed to move them because daffodils are toxic, but they haven't touched a single, one of them. We are still going to remove them though. I know there'll be a few of you saying, oh, quickly and remove them. They're on the job list. They'll probably get done this weekend. Hey up, girlies. I don't know who that is. It could be Daisy, but it might be Fern, because she tends to come down here. So yeah, you can see the rest of the field, which is the bigger section. It's probably about, at the bottom, maybe 1.5 acres, and then 3.5 acres over that side where it opens up real big. This is one of those peri-pear trees that I was telling you about. So the first one of them is there, peri-pear number 1. Peri-pear number 2 is in the corner, nice anchor point for the garden and leading down. Here, that's a point actually. You're going to see that in blossom from down in that new garden section, which will be really nice. You'll see a lot of these trees actually. That's a New Zealand flax if you're interested. Gorgeous, almost like bird of paradise style flowers. This is the third peri-pear tree. If you're interested, these are about 150 years of age, possibly even more. They're stunning. I feel like we're the custodians of them now, so they're definitely staying. And then the fourth one is there, and then the fifth one, you can just see the base of it just there. And that one's got wedding day rose all the way up, climbing up there with Paul's Himalayan musk. That is an amazing sight. Can't wait to show you that later this year, because that rose has been growing up there for about 23 years. It's incredible. It's as tall as the tree. This is paddock 3. We've had to take that gate off, which goes into paddock number 2, just because in the winter it kept coming off. We need a bolt to hold it on. It was just moving in the wind, and I don't know, somehow it just rose up the pegs that it's on. And there's a pin you can get, which we're gonna pop in there. Girlies, who is that? Daisy. Daisy do, come on then. Come and say hi. Come on. Daisy. Daisy do. She's like, no, I'm too busy. Maybe another time. So yeah, there's a load of trees in here. I was going to show you the stellata magnolia. I'll go around and show you that. I did do a shorter video yesterday where I showed you it, so go and check that one out. Look at this weeping willow. Love these trees. There's 2 of them, one in paddock 3 and then one at the end of the rose room, which you always see in my rose room tour videos. And then this gorgeous pine. We are going to move that bench because the pine drops like this sticky sap that comes off of it, presumably out of the foliage, and if you sit on there you end up with really sticky pants. It's not a good idea. So yeah, we're going to change that and pop it around the sweet chestnut, which we've bought and planted at the back. But this tree is magnificent. Look at that. Up and up and up and up and up. God, my arms are killing holding this camera for this long. Yeah, it goes right up there. Right. Let's wrap this up in a minute. So, let's go through this willow. Try not to get attacked in the process. Isn't that pretty? I love willow by ponds, by water. They do really well. If you've got ground that's saturated with water, willow would be a great choice. That's why you often see them growing by rivers, because they just do so well in moist ground and they help to dry it out. So look at that, what a shot. Beautiful red sky. Hopefully that means we're gonna have another nice day tomorrow. I can't wait for these. I mean, I'm not being impatient, but when these trees get a lot bigger, you just think a beautiful sunset like that and that big weeping cherry and the other one over there. Gorgeous. This is a beautiful tree. I can never remember the name of this one, but in autumn it goes all the colours of the rainbow. It's beautiful. Really is stunning. Right, okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little walk through the rose room. I'm guessing my herbal tea's gone flat cold now. Completely forgot about that. Look at those daffs. OMG. This is the one thing I love, and when we go in the rose room in a sec, you'll see the hyacinths, the primulas, and the miniature tete daffodils. They'll light up like this. Honestly, my eyes right now, I mean, I can see, but it looks more vibrant on this phone. Sorry, they look as vibrant to me in the garden now as they do on the phone, but it's actually quite dark. And listen to those birds. Again, mornings and evenings are just so wonderful here because of the birds. It's nice to wake up on a morning to birds calling. Cannot wait to show you that cherry in the coming days. Right, okay, quick look in here. Here we go. Yeah, it looks so much brighter. Look at those. Like little, you know, have you ever watched Avatar before? You know, like those scenes where they're in the jungle and there's all those plants that are glowing in the dark? That's what it reminds me of, because that's what it looks like. They're almost iridescent. I've got my Westland rose feed in there, and I've also put some alfalfa pellets in that blue bucket because I've been feeding all the clematis today. I'm just making sure that they're all okay. There's one clematis per post in this room, so there's quite a few in there. Everything's looking really, really good. I'm hoping as well this year that this rose cage because of the roses that I've got around it, I've had a good season now to settle in. We'll see some really nice growth this year. And all my rabbit guards as well. They'll stop the little buggers nibbling away like they normally do at this time of year. Treat these roses like a salad bar, they do sometimes. So yeah, I've got all of these plastic supports. You can barely see them on this video. That's one of my Munstead woods there. Had that in a pot up in the kitchen garden. Treated both of them, that one there and that one there, to this spot with Vanessa Bell. Mill on the floss and Emily Bronte at this side. And that's going to be such a beautiful combination. So there we go. I might finish off seeing if we can show you that other Magnolia stellata. Let's work our way over there now. And all of these primulas, I didn't pay a single penny for any one of them. Was that something that just went across the camera? Like a rabbit or something? I'm not sure. Anyway. Oh, Scott's over the other side. Just talking to the alpacas. So that's something that he wouldn't have been able to do before, to come from the field into the garden. But today they installed a new gate in paddock 2, which will give the girls access to the new pastures. Once we've got the new fencing going in. They probably won't be in it till later this year or next spring. But you can see, look. Hi girls. There they are. And there's the gate at the back. Hello ladies, I'm just telling everybody about your new field. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. Are you girls? No, you're not. And this used to be all sort of 20-25 foot hedging, so you didn't see any of these views. It's all been opened up since we've purchased that land. Used to be a vineyard, as I said, so there were machines in there, lots of metal wires and supports, which, bless him, Scott has been removing since the end of October last year. And he's done a sterling job, absolute sterling job. And it just looks so much better now. So we got the hedge cut down, quite low, coppiced in fact, and that'll grow back up and we'll sort of keep it around about this height. Then there'll just be an opening there. Hello Daisy Doo. You coming to say hi to everyone? You're a cheeky monkey, you are. The Magnolia stellata, look, you can still see the blooms in this light. Because now we can see some of the distant neighbouring properties as well. Once we've got all our trees out and about in this field, we will make sure that we get our privacy back, and also they get theirs. So we will be putting trees in strategic positions so that we don't necessarily see that. Having said that, their house is stunning. It's such a pretty little place, especially when it's lit up like that. But I love the forest in the background and the hills. There's a lot of rapeseed that's grown in these fields, so we'll get a popper yellow this year. Look at that stellata. Sorry, I appreciate this is not the best time to be showing you it. I'll try and show you it on a different evening. Let me know if you'd like to see it in the comments. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. That's quite an extensive tour of the garden. I haven't shown you the kitchen garden or the top section, but I think that's enough for tonight. Maybe one day we can go for a walk around the new field and I'll show you what that all looks like. Again, let me know if that's something you'd like to see. These are those other toffee apple trees. There's one that I put in there, one just there, and another one up in the top garden, and then we've got a mature one which is right there. See, it's coming out into leaf. It's quite a big one. That was the original one. And I remember the first time I smelt that, I was like, oh my god, I need more of these in my life. Just spotted the owl box at the back, look. We ain't got any visitors yet, but hopefully one day there'll be some owls that I can show you, fingers crossed. Our neighbour, she's got barn owls in her barn. And they've got, no, they haven't got babies yet. They've had babies in previous years. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the tour, and I hope that you guys are going to have an amazing weekend and that the weather stays as beautiful as it's been for the last couple of days. As always, give the video a like to show your support on the channel, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.